A bright flash of red and blue light fills a living room, and suddenly, hundreds of children are falling to the floor in a state of medical emergency. This is not a scene from a scary movie, but a real event that led to the total ban of a legendary cartoon episode across the globe. In the United Kingdom, this was just one example of how regulators work to keep specific stories off the airwaves. Many of these removals happened so quietly that most fans never even noticed. We're pulling back the curtain on the hidden story of British cartoon censorship. Children across the United Kingdom spent years laughing at the antics of a sponge and a starfish, but one specific story about a baby scallop was quietly tucked away by broadcasters. This is a key detail because the episode titled Rockabye Bivalve seemed like a normal adventure on the surface. SpongeBob and Patrick find a tiny abandoned baby scallop in a coral reef and decide to raise it themselves inside a pineapple house that is about 50 feet tall. SpongeBob takes on the role of the mother, wearing a frilly apron and doing all the housework, while Patrick acts as the father. They even name the little creature Junior and spend their days changing diapers made from kelp leaves. But here's the catch. The show was poking fun at traditional marriage and parenting tropes, but regulators in the early 2000s were not laughing. There are still many rumors in the air, but what many can confirm is that the United Kingdom was emerging from a time when certain laws made it very difficult to show non-traditional families on television. Because SpongeBob and Patrick were two male characters acting like a married couple, conservative groups started to complain. They felt the show was trying to send a message that went against their values. Even though the creator always said the characters were just being silly, the episode started to disappear from regular rotation. It's not that simple though, because the drama inside the episode actually gets quite intense. Patrick starts acting like a lazy husband who refuses to help with the baby. He comes home from work and immediately sits in front of the television, ignoring the mountain of dirty diapers that SpongeBob has to deal with. At one point, SpongeBob shows him a pile of trash that is several inches high to prove how hard he is working. The two of them get into a huge argument about who is the better parent. This kind of domestic tension was seen as a bit too mature for a show meant for 6-year-olds. What most people do not realize is that while the episode was not officially banned by a government decree, it became a quiet victim of corporate caution. Broadcasters simply stopped airing it as much as the other episodes. They wanted to avoid any controversy that might hurt the brand. Even when the show had a giant countdown of the top 100 episodes, this one felt like it was being handled with gloves. It is one of the most overlooked aspects of how cartoons are shaped to fit local cultures. Many are not seeing the truth here, but things get even stranger when a global superstar enters the picture. Everyone is obsessed with the classic years of The Simpsons, and hands down, one of the most famous guest spots was from the King of Pop himself. In the episode titled Stark Raving Dad, Homer is sent to a mental institution because he wore a pink shirt to work. While he is there, he meets a large man named Leon who claims to be Michael Jackson. Homer does not know who that is, so he just believes him. They become fast friends, and Leon even helps Bart write an amazing song for Lisa on her birthday. It was a massive moment in television history that was celebrated for almost 30 years. And get this. The crazy part is that the episode was pulled from every streaming service and television station in the United Kingdom almost overnight in 2019. Nobody expected this to happen, but a documentary about the singer's personal life changed everything. The producers of the show decided that they could no longer keep the episode in circulation. They felt that keeping it on the air was a mistake given the new information that had come to light, so they just deleted it. If you try to find it on a digital library in London today, it is simply not there. A lot of people are confused about why a single documentary would lead to the total erasure of a piece of art. For many fans in the United Kingdom, this episode was a childhood staple. They loved the song Happy Birthday Lisa and the message of family bonding. But for the network, the association was too risky. They did not want to be seen as supporting someone with such a controversial legacy. It was one of those moments where the real world crashed into the cartoon world and left a giant hole in the series. One of the most overlooked aspects of this ban is that it was a global decision that hit the United Kingdom particularly hard because the show is so popular there. Thousands of people complained on social media, but the decision was final. The episode is now a ghost that only exists on old physical discs or bootleg websites. It is a strange feeling to know that a piece of your childhood has been officially scrubbed from existence because of events that happened decades after it was made. The crazy part is that some episodes were never even meant for the public to see in any country. Dexter is a boy genius with a secret laboratory that is likely thousands of square feet in size, but he could not invent a way to get one specific episode on the air. There is a segment produced called Rude Removal that was designed to be a joke for the animation crew. In the story, Dexter invents a machine that can remove the rudeness from a person. He uses it on himself and his sister Dee Dee, but the machine malfunctions. Instead of just making them polite, it creates two separate versions of them. One pair is incredibly nice, and the other pair is foul-mouthed and aggressive. So here's the deal. The rude versions of Dexter and Dee Dee spend the entire episode swearing and making middle finger gestures. Of course, the bad words are beeped out, but you can tell exactly what they're saying. The nice version of Dexter even has a very posh British accent to show how polite he has become. It was meant to be a funny way to play with the characters, but the executives at the network were horrified. They knew that even with the beeps, they could never show this to children in the United Kingdom or anywhere else. Basically, the episode was banned before it even had a chance to air. It sat in a vault for over 15 years. United Kingdom regulators have very strict rules about profanity before the 9 p.m. watershed, and a show like Dexter's Laboratory would have been in major trouble if this had leaked out. The creators eventually showed it at some animation festivals, but it was never part of the official broadcast schedule in London or Manchester. It became a legend among fans who wondered if the foul-mouthed genius truly existed. And that's putting it lightly. When the episode finally leaked onto the internet in 2013, it confirmed everything the rumors had suggested. It was a wild departure from the tone of the rest of the series. While most people find it funny now that they are adults, it serves as a reminder of the hard line that broadcasters draw when it comes to language. You can have all the scientific explosions you want, but a few choice words will get you locked in a vault forever. See, the real mystery lies in how much adult humor creators tried to slip past the censors back then. Cow and Chicken was a show that was already known for being very strange and a little bit gross, but one segment went way beyond the usual weirdness of the series. It was titled Buffalo Gals, and it featured a gang of female bikers who break into people's homes to chew on their carpets. For a kid, this might just seem like a bizarre and random joke, but for adults and regulators in the United Kingdom, the phrase carpet chewing is a very specific piece of slang for an intimate act. The entire episode was filled with double meanings that were impossible to ignore once you knew what to look for. The crazy part is that the episode actually made it to the air in some places before people realized what was happening. Once the complaints started rolling in, the episode was pulled from the rotation and replaced with a different story. In the United Kingdom, the ban was silent and permanent. Broadcasters did not want to explain to parents why a cartoon was making jokes about adult sexuality. They simply made sure that the Buffalo Gals were never seen again on British television. It is a key detail that the episode also included a lot of softball references, which added even more to the hidden theme. What most people do not realize is that the 90s were a time when animators were constantly trying to see what they could get away with. They wanted to entertain the parents as much as the kids, but sometimes they flew too close to the sun. This episode is hands down the most famous example of a cartoon getting caught in the act. It was not just about a single joke. The entire plot was built around a theme that was deemed inappropriate for a young audience. Nobody expected this to happen, but one single animation choice changed the safety of television forever. The most famous ban in history of animation happened because of a single episode of Pokemon called Electric Soldier Porygon. In this story, Ash and his friends go inside a computer system to stop a virus. During a battle, Pikachu uses a Thunderbolt attack to destroy some missiles. This caused the screen to flash red and blue at a very high frequency for about 5 seconds. To the animators in Japan, it was just a cool visual effect, but to the children watching at home, it was a biological trigger. And get this, over 685 children across Japan were rushed to the hospital with seizures and vision problems. Some kids were even unconscious for several days. It was a massive national crisis that made news headlines all over the world, including the United Kingdom. Even though the episode had not aired in London yet, the government and the regulators immediately stepped in. They decided that the episode would never be allowed to air on British soil. They even went a step further and created new rules for how fast lights could flash on a television screen. So here's the deal. Because of this one incident, the character of Porygon was essentially deleted from the show. Even though it was Pikachu who caused the explosion, Porygon was the one who took the blame. The United Kingdom's health experts worked with broadcasters to make sure that no other imported shows would ever have this kind of effect on kids. It changed the way animation is produced globally. Now, every show has to pass a specific test to make sure the light patterns are safe for people with sensitive eyes. A lot of people are confused about why they cannot just edit the scene and show the rest of the episode. The truth is that the tragedy was so large that the creators wanted to move on entirely. They did not want to remind anyone of the night that their show sent hundreds of people to the hospital. In the United Kingdom, you can find almost every other episode of the series, but this one remains a forbidden relic of a very scary night in television history. The thing is, I'm wondering if this all happens overnight or if there is a pattern we are missing. When we look back at these 5 episodes, we see a world where the line between entertainment and controversy is very thin. Regulators in the UK were not just being mean, they were trying to navigate a world that was changing faster than they could keep up with. They were dealing with new ideas about family, the fall of major celebrities, and the hidden dangers of technology. Are these bans truly protecting children, or are we just erasing creative history for the sake of comfort? Let us know your thoughts below. Make sure to like and subscribe for more.